for joining us for another edition of the Free Exchange of Ideas with Donovan and John. We are here to help you out. Now, let's just get to it.
Okay, hey, thank you guys for coming back with us. Today we have Karin Clements, and she's going to go ahead and take a couple minutes and describe what she does and who she does it for. So if you would please, Karin, go to it.
Okay, I am a wildlife rehabilitator. I work with a couple different organizations. One is the Wildlife Center of Silicon Valley. I'm a volunteer there as well as an employee. So I worked with them 3 days a week, and I volunteer with them as well doing rescue in South County. So when we get wildlife calls, somebody has an injured or orphan animal, typically animal control is not able to handle those, so they come to me. That's one. I also work with WERC in Morgan Hill. That's the Wildlife Education and Rehabilitation Center. And I do wildlife rescue for them. So two different organizations in our area.
And you said that's in Morgan Hill?
Yes.
Where's that located in Morgan Hill?
It's a private residence on a couple of acres. It's something I can't share, but it's in Morgan Hill. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was a private residence, with the room, or if it was like an education center where people could go and see it.
Typically they do go out and do events, educational events, but it's over off a private area.
Okay.
In Morgan Hill.
Cool. So how long have you
and then wildlife's, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how long have you been doing this?
8 years.
With these two groups?
I've been with WCSV, the Wildlife Center of Silicon Valley in San Jose, for 8 years. I've been with WERC in Morgan Hill since 2018. So what's that, 4 years?
Yeah, coming up on 4.
19, 20, 21. Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this?
I wanted to volunteer. So it's funny, my neighbors had a couple of egrets running in their yard, babies. And they asked me for help, and I've always liked animals. And they asked me if I knew where to take them. So I went online and found the Wildlife Center in San Jose and took them out there. And at the time they had a educational crow. His name was Marley, and he was in the lobby, and he was talking to people who came in. And I thought, oh, this is a cool place, and do you take volunteers? So literally it happened that weekend. And 8 years since that was 8 years ago.
Oh, that's very cool. Now it says on your business card that you are a licensed falconer. What does that entail?
Okay, so falconry is a different thing. So that I started out when we get animals in that have been orphaned or injured, like a raptor, a red-tailed hawk, or a falcon of some kind. Before we can release them, we need to make sure that they can live hunt. Right. So I wanted to work with them to take them out on a creance, fly them, make sure they could be released. And that led me into falconry, which is hunting with birds of prey. And I only hunt, invasive species, animals that are destructive, like ground squirrels, things like that. So that I've been doing for 3 years. I'm a general level falconer now. So I have a couple different birds, and, it's basically, hunting with an animal. And then also most falconers, which I'm one, is we work with the birds for a year or two, and then we release them.
Oh, okay. So is it part of the rehabilitation process?
No, completely different. Yeah, completely separate from them. But it has taught me a lot about working with raptors and recognizing, when they're really healthy and able to fly and hunt very well, because in the wild, only about 20% of them make it past their first year. So, with the encroachment of humans and with pesticides and all the other problems, most of them just don't do well. So falconers work with them, get them hunting, get them flying, get them up to flight weight, it's called flying hunting weight, and release them after a season or two.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say where I work now, there's a pair of falcons. I'm sorry, not falcons, red-tailed hawks, and we have the area that I work in has just a boatload of squirrels and crows and pigeons, all kinds of stuff that they can hunt. Obviously, they're not hunting the crows because that's probably not a really bright idea.
Well,
But
no, yeah.
I remember when there were three when I first got there about 2.5 years ago, and I realized that two of them were the parents of the third one. And so they dropped it and bailed, and then that one took over. And then a fourth one, now two, came in, and now I think they've made it. They play together a lot and hunt
Yes.
together. So that was really interesting to watch progress from. As a matter of fact, I think I called you when she first came in because the crows were just all over her, and I was really afraid. I was really afraid that she wasn't going to make it. I assumed it was a female, but that's just me. And she learned to start grabbing more air because she had the bigger wings. She didn't have the speed, but she could get more air and then come back at them. And the crows now leave them both alone.
Well, good. They all work together. They learn to accept each other, and birds of prey will move into where they find food. When there's a good food source, they'll move in. Nature has an amazing way of balancing things out.
Right.
So
and now we have three turkey vultures. Is that what they're called? They're large.
That's the cleanup squad.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the hawks that we had taken a squirrel. And two of the turkey vultures were just kind of waiting for him to finish, or her to finish. I got a couple pictures of that. I'll have to send you those. Those are pretty good stuff. But so you got into rescue with WCSV, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much more you basically grew into the position, right? Because you volunteered.
Right. Basically, there was no one out here that did rescue. So when people had injured wildlife, what was happening is they were either trying to rehabilitate them themselves, which is illegal, and it rarely works out well. Wildlife, even, by law, if you find injured or orphaned wildlife, you have 24 hours to get it to a licensed facility. So people in my area, when they found something, their cat got a bird or found a baby in the yard, it never works out well when people try to rehabilitate them themselves. They take a special diet. They take special handling. So by having someone out here available, I was able to kind of close that gap of need out here. And I also work with the Sheriff's Department and animal control. So when they get wildlife, they can call me and say, I don't know what to do with this. And they'll bring it to me and I can take it into the center. And my falconry license allows me to provide short-term emergency care to, raptors and birds of prey that can be very dangerous to handle.
Right. Yeah, they can open you up pretty easily with that beak. So what do we have here?
Yeah. So this is the falcon.
Yes.
So this is Loki. Yeah, this is Loki is an American kestrel. So Loki's family, he's a good example. His family was eaten by a barn cat. So he came to me. Yeah, so he came to me as a brancher, they're called. So he wasn't quite ready to go hunt on his own, but he wasn't a baby, so he knew he was a bird. He knew he was a falcon. Versus if you take a baby falcon or hawk and it imprints on a human, it doesn't know it's a bird, so it can never be released. That's
a for real thing.
Right, it is definitely a real thing, which is another danger of why you shouldn't try to rehab them yourselves. Right. So Loki is being taught to hunt, and he's quite dangerous on dragonflies and other things. And once he's fully mature and ready to go, he can be released and he'll, survive because he's learned how to hunt because his mom wasn't around to teach him.
Right. So how old is he now?
So he's almost 2. So he's been a little slow to develop, but as you can see, he's reached that mature age where he wants to hunt and fly on his own.
He's beautiful.
Yes. So this is our smallest native falcon. These are everywhere, but you don't notice him. If you can see his coloring, he blends in. He blends in with the trees. and the coloring kind of helps him blend in. But these guys are good for keeping, which is what I'm training him, is to catch like house sparrows and starlings, which are invasive.
Yeah,
So,
they're
you know,
about the same size as him, yeah?
no, there's much smaller, like the little brown
Oh, the
house
little
sparrows are
ones.
very
Okay.
small. Yeah. Starlings, he has as yet to catch one, but he will chase them. And,
Right.
you know, then he could survive on that and do the added benefit of reducing the numbers, you know.
You know,
Which,
what does a starling look like? Because we have what? We have a small bird where I'm at. I call it a split tail swallow because I'm really not sure what kind of bird it is. But it's a thin bird with a very long tail, and it's split in dark color in the tail and a lighter color chest.
I'd have to see a picture of it. You can
Yeah,
look up starlings. They're actually of the minor bird family. They're an invasive species,
okay.
but they can be taught to talk, believe it or
Right.
not. But again, they're invasive. So I'm trying to train my birds to, you know, the added benefit of training them, but also trying to get them to reduce numbers that really we don't want here. Now they'd have to eat about 1 million of them to make a difference, but not for
Well,
lack of trying. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do the thing, right?
Right.
So how long have you had him? You said he was a not full grown, but he was
Right.
above a baby.
Where it's called a brancher. So he was just leaving the nest and hopping around to branches. And
Okay.
normally he would follow his mom, and, you know, she would train him to catch food or whatever. Excuse me. But he wasn't fully flighted yet. So he is fully flighted now. He's a good hunter. I still have to work on making him aware of his surroundings. When he's down on food, he's so focused he doesn't look around, and he needs to watch for predators. So
Cats
I
and
use a
dogs.
clicker when I'm out with him, and while he's down on prey, and I'm clicking and moving him around, so he's learning to check, because that's when he's most vulnerable.
Right.
Is he's focused on food, then a Cooper's hawk or anything else can come out and grab him.
Yeah, how big is a Cooper's hawk?
A Cooper's hawk is about, you know, it's about half the size of a red tail. And Coopers are bird eaters. You know, they hunt birds, whereas typically red tails go after mammals. So Cooper's hawks love kestrels. They'll go after them. So do peregrines. Peregrines are another, you know, they'll hunt him. So he's basically food for pretty much anything in the area if he's not paying attention. So we're trying to teach him.
Yeah, peregrine falcons. Is that the one where it looks like his head's really close to his chest or close to his shoulders?
I'm not sure.
Flat top head.
Well, they can hunker down. They're another native falcon. They're small, but they're the fastest animal on Earth.
Right.
So I guess you could perceive it as his, you know, they do kind of hunker down a little bit. So
we have one of those out there as well. It's and he's very rare, but when he flies through, the crows bail.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen any other animal or any other animal do that to crows, because they really don't seem to have very much fear, but you know, they don't call them murder for nothing, right?
Right. Yeah. And they're smart. Crows are smart.
Yeah, wickedly smart.
Yeah.
There's some good videos on YouTube. You can go down a rabbit hole just watching them figure out a game to get to the food.
To the food, right? Yeah, they're as smart as a 7-year-old child. An adult crow is as smart as a 7-year-old human.
Children.
Yeah.
but yeah. So, are you primarily working with raptors?
No, I also work, I provide home care, which is another thing I do as a volunteer. I take in home care raccoons, and they do much better. Some animals do well in a shelter setting or a center setting. Raccoons don't. They need one-on-one care. They need a lot of attention. They need stress reduced handling. So I do home care for raccoons through WCSV. I also am a bobcat mom, which that's the place in Morgan Hill has a bobcat program. When we get, and it's the same sort of thing when a wild animal is orphaned, they have to be taught to be wild again. They have to be taught to hunt and do things like that. So we have a program at WERC called Bobcat Mom. And what we do is we dress up as a bobcat and we go in the enclosure with the babies and we teach them how to pounce and hunt and recognize predators. So we work with them for months, but no sound, no contact, not like playing with a cat. And by the time they're released, they'll hopefully have all the skills they need to survive. So I work with raptors in my own time a lot and through the center, but any native wildlife and that comes in, I can work with. So, and that varies: birds, squirrels, possums, skunks, raccoons, bobcats, coyotes, foxes. So pretty much anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned the raccoons. We had a raccoon at our place. I think he's still here around. But the first time we saw him, he was just wandering in our patio area, and then he climbed up our barbecue area and laid on his back and was pulling the berries off of the wisteria plant and eating them.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Just being super cute, right?
Oh, they're very cute.
45 pounds. He's as big as my small dog.
Right.
He's awfully heavy. But how do you handle an animal like that? Or are you not talking about fully grown?
Well, we do have fully grown raccoons that can, because of course they get hurt too. We have fully grown animals that come in, they get hit by cars, they get shot by people, they get poisoned. We have them come in as well. So when we're handling something like that, we're wearing, shoulder length gloves, thick gloves. We're wearing shields and masks, goggles, because they are extremely dangerous. We also vaccinate them. So, they're treated by our vet, they're sedated. Sometimes we'll have to close up wounds. We vaccinate them as a matter of course before they're released again. So yeah, we use all the safety precautions. And because I work with rabies vector animals, I'm vaccinated and I have to get vaccinated and boosters every year for rabies. And then we have to follow a very strict protocol, especially like we handle bats, we handle skunks. We have to, follow a very strict protocol with washing and, disinfecting and, scrubbing and cleaning. And, dirty laundry has to be thrown away. It's not washed and reused. So we have strict, we have strict protocol for every animals. Possums, squirrels, those kind of things, they don't carry rabies, but rabies vector, I don't know why I can't say that right. They have a stricter protocol, which is again, one of the reasons I volunteer is because most of the people that, you see a raccoon in your yard, a baby raccoon, oh, it's so cute, I want to take care of it, but it doesn't make a good pet. And it can be very dangerous because they can carry distemper, they can carry all kinds of things. So we have very strict protocol we have to follow.
I remember, this is kind of off a little bit, but I remember going out with a friend of a friend who hunted raccoons. But we were out in Alabama.
Where it's legal, yeah.
Yeah, he's all, hey, you want to go hunting? I didn't have a weapon with me, so I was like, I probably wouldn't. It wouldn't be good for me. He goes, no, we just take the dogs. Well, I didn't know this, but you have to stay with those dogs really tight because if they do get a raccoon out of the tree and they get him into water, raccoon will just sit on their head until they drown. So
they're smart.
Tight. Yeah, he's tight with the dogs the whole time. I was I was actually really impressed with the dogs that they found because I'm just walking around. They've got a scent going,
Right.
I have beagles now, so the scent is a thing.
And that's their instinct is to hunt.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they did a fantastic job. And then the raccoon was staying in the tree, so he just took it. But I was really impressed with both the raccoon and the dog.
Right.
The raccoon would go up a tree and then jump to another.
Yes.
We're throwing scent now. I mean, that's a human thought process, I think.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Right?
They're very smart. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was very impressed with those animals. But yeah, that one up here, he's way too cute. They're
cute. So separating the cute from, working with the animals, you really come to respect their abilities and watch how they all interact, predator to prey, competition to complement, it's really fascinating. It never gets boring, but you do really come to respect and recognize the danger and the risk that these animals live with every day. And we're
Right.
the worst predators to them and our pets. But seeing how they evolve and how they have learned to deal with us, it never gets boring. And
Yeah.
I've worked with raccoons, adult raccoons, because we have to clean their enclosures. And I drop my enclosure keys inside the raccoons, right like next to the door. And one of those raccoons came over and grabbed the keys, pulled them into the enclosure, and walked over to the door and was, he couldn't figure it out, but his brain, he knew enough to know somehow to open that door. And I had to go in with gloves and a net to get my keys back. So you talk about a smart animal.
Yeah, that must have been a little surprising.
It was a little humbling. Yeah. We're not all that, they're pretty smart. They're learning and they learn fast.
Right. So what about skunks? Because to me, right, when I see a skunk, it's usually after he's been on the road a couple of minutes.
Yeah. You mean
or
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
in my backyard. As a matter of fact, my mother-in-law was coming out to feed the cats, which she does about 7 o'clock in the morning. And as she rounds the corner from the garage into our patio area, there were 5 baby skunks eating cat food out of the bowl. One of them turned and started walking toward her. She bailed to the house, just panicked. Get away. Didn't know where the parents were, because they weren't right there. But yeah, she didn't want to waste any time or find out if that thing had good spray or what. Nope, just bailed. Called my wife from the front house and said, "Hey, there's a bunch of little baby skunks out there." Yeah. So yeah, I think my wife went out, got a couple of pictures from a distance, because she didn't know where Mama was either.
Right. Well, Mama didn't need to be there because the babies had found food. So Mom probably taught them how to, hey, look, the humans put food out. Go take advantage of that.
Probably.
That's why it's dangerous when you feed your animals outside, because
these are all barn cats. So
okay. Then
barn.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys, we probably had the best looking possum I've ever seen, because he ate that fatty cat food.
Right.
Just gorgeous coat. We had another, I don't know what happened to this possum, but we had another possum for a little, I say had, he was around the area all the time, around the house.
Right.
And one of his back legs was just the bone.
Yeah.
But he got along just fine. And of course, he had a gorgeous coat, but
Isn't that amazing?
That impressed me.
Yes.
That impressed me.
I've seen them with like dead back legs. They crawl around and, they dig for grubs and stuff. So they don't need to run.
Right.
And most predators will leave a skunk and possums. I mean, these are dangerous animals. They'll leave them alone. You have to have like a coyote or something that would go after, and it would have to be pretty hungry to go after a possum or a skunk. So, they amazing that they can survive this. So, but we see that a lot.
We were really surprised. I mean, didn't occur to us to try and, call anybody.
Yeah.
There was no reason to. He was doing fine.
Right.
The only time I ever saw him have issues was when the raccoon was close by and they would argue in a tree.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because they're competing for food. And I've seen, there's a lady that feeds the feral cat population here. And I've seen baby skunks, coming in and eating with their cats. They don't even look at each other. Possums coming in. Yeah. They just learn to accept each other. Everybody's here for the food. And they don't compete. There's nothing at risk. So they just kind of walk side by side. It's pretty cool. It's that adaptation.
We had that raccoon I was telling you about ate right in the same bowl with all our cats.
Right. Yeah. And they won't bother them. If they don't bother the wildlife, they won't bother them.
Yeah. No, the only time I had an issue was when we have a large bird, fowl, an egg bird, basically. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's a good sized bird. And we have it in a pen in the back, a large pen, which used to be called our hospital pen. For when we first got here, we built that pen for the cats that were here if they got pregnant, we would put them in that pen. That way we could kind of control the situation, keep them fed well, and keep the babies fed well as they were able to grow.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, but so we got him in there now, or her, I should say, in there now. And about, let's see, this is July, so somewhere around March or April, skunk got in there. I don't know how he got in. It took me forever to figure it out. But
Yeah.
the skunk was eating the seed that the bird was eating. And since I always made sure there was plenty of seed. I didn't even know he was in there until I walked in one day and I smelled him, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the bird comes around the corner, not making any noise or anything. I'm cool with that. And then I turn around, and there's a skunk right there, and I'm like, oh crap! And I tried to run out of the way, and he hissed at me. I'm like, oh my gosh! I've never seen one that aggressive. So like as soon as I could get him out the door, close the door, I walked around the edge of the pen, trying to figure out how he got in. And sure enough, he had pulled pulled the fencing up.
Dug underneath.
No, actually, I guess one of the staples had come out of the chicken wire that we had around it, and he was able to pull that and get a couple more of those out so he could get in. I was just like, wow, that's they think a lot more than we really give them credit for generally. You said you worked with bobcats. Just the young bobcats, or like
just the babies? Yes, we do not go in the enclosures with the adults. So just the babies. And
I was gonna say, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, it's okay. Just until they're old enough to be released. But it takes, they stay with mom in the wild for up to 10 months. So we work with them for a long time. And the earlier they come to us, the longer it takes. Right. And we always have more than one. We have a single at WERC now, but we've got a pair of babies that came in from 2 different locations because of the fires. So soon, sometime this week, we'll be putting them together because they need their own little pack as well. So they learn from each other, and then we work with them every day. But what you're talking about, it's enrichment, like what you're talking about with the skunk. We have to do that with the wildlife as well. It's called enrichment. We'll put in branches with, drilled holes with meat stuck in them and things like that, because they'll get bored and they'll self-mutilate if they are not. Yes. So, we're going against what's natural. So these animals, because they're hurt or they're sick, are having to be kept around people. So that's a constant stressful situation. They're basically being handled by predators. Sure. So, and they get bored and they get stressed. So we have to constantly give them stimulation and enrichment to keep them sharp and to keep them from getting, hurting themselves or getting sick. And bobcats, very smart, but, we have to teach them to live hunt. And, which means we have to, I raise quail and mice and some other things for the wildlife. And they need to know how to kill. We're trying to give them the best advantage to survive. Right. And most of what we handle is because of human and we discussed this. So some people get upset. It's like, oh, you're working with wildlife. You're interfering. 95% of the animals that we have are because of human problems, interference, and our pets. So we're trying to counter that.
Yeah, I can say I know that an adult bobcat is wickedly dangerous, and very quick. Yes, it's not even about how fast they can run, but it's how fast they can run in a very short distance. I mean, if you're 15 feet, that's too close.
Right. Well, the babies are nothing to mess with too. 10-week-old babies can open up your skin. They could put a nice deep gash in you. I mean, we're wearing thick leather, covered up in thick leather, because they're even in play, they can open up your skin without any effort whatsoever.
Yeah. They're them, coyotes and wolves, very impressive animals.
Yes, coyotes. Yeah, we have a couple sick coyotes because of poisons. They have mange really bad. People poison pests. They put out rat poison, squirrel poison, which very seldom kills rats and very seldom kills the squirrels. It just makes them a little sick enough for the predators to catch them, and then the predators get sick. So those are what we get with, and it's pretty it's disheartening to see, a bobcat come in just, covered in, parasites and mange, and it's been eating poison squirrels and rats, and coyotes seem to suffer from it worse. We have a pair in now that I swear they look like a cornflake in the shape of a dog. It's really pitiful to see. Their fur is just gone. Their skin is just crusty, and it's really sad, but it's from eating poisoned rodents.
And that's actually a really common thing with coyotes, right?
Yes.
Mange, especially from
common. But mange is from, poisons and pesticides.
Right.
So, and then they spread it to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do fleas cause that as well, or at least?
No, it's a parasite. No, it's not fleas. So like your dog could get it's a parasite. It's like a scabies parasite in animals, but it's not fleas. No. It's a parasite, but it's a different kind.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's from, again, poisons. Yeah.
Yeah. I just knew not to. Well, one, you don't want to get close to a coyote anyway in the wild, because they're still a wild animal. They're still, well aware enough that they can do some damage. But yeah, I've seen several coyotes that were obviously in pain and mangy, and it's like, you want to help them out, but you can't really. It's just not. I can't anyway.
Well, it's caused by mites. Yes, so I had to look it up, but it's caused by mites. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get it from eating rodents and sick. They're infested with it as well. So it has a ripple effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I really have. I mean, there's probably things I don't know to ask, but if I've missed anything, or there's something that you want to say, please, I'm going to give you the floor now and just let you kind of do your thing.
Well, actually, the only thing I would say is and I've worked at a domestic animal shelter, and I work with wildlife, is people love animals. If you love animals, keep wildlife wild. There are dogs and cats being put down every day because they can't find homes. So it's very disheartening to us when somebody comes in and they've had a bobcat kitten for 4 months that now can't be released because somebody wants to have a cool pet, or they didn't know it was illegal, or, if you find a squirrel or a bobcat or a raccoon, they're very cute, but please turn them in to wildlife. It never turns out well. And that sweet little baby that you're raising, it's going to get puberty, and it's going to get mean, and it's going to get difficult to handle. And if you take it and release it, it has no idea how to survive. So it's never going to survive on its own. So that's kind of the only message. If you love animals, adopt a cat or a dog or a rabbit. Leave wildlife wild.
Yeah. Can I, well, I don't know who else is going to see this, so I probably don't want to give out your phone number, but.
I give it out for South County because I do rescue out here, but I do work at the center 3 days a week, so I'm not always available.
Okay. So I can, well, okay. So if you need to get, if you live in the South County area, which is South Santa Clara County.
Which is Gilroy, Morgan Hill, and San Martin areas.
Right. And you find an animal, or you find something that you need to take care of, call Karin. Her phone number is 408-825-3401. Do you want me to give your email as well, or no?
Sure, you can give it. I don't typically check email. I live off my phone. I use my phone, and I also transport. So if you can bring an animal to me, I'm at the center Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. If you can bring an animal to me, I can take it to the wildlife center the next morning. That's what animal control does. I come home from work and there's 6 boxes on my porch. But it makes it easier. And again, the goal is to get wildlife where it can get the help it needs, and to, give it the best chance of survival. So we're all willing to help.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Karin. This has been illuminating for me, and I truly appreciate your time. You have a great day, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm Donovan, and John's here with us today. Thank you for joining us for the free exchange of ideas, and we'll see you next time on the next show. See ya!